This is Tim Staten with Tim Stating the Obvious. What is this podcast about? It's simple. You are entitled to great leadership everywhere you go, whether it's to church, whether it's to work, whether it's at your house, you are entitled to great leadership. And so in this podcast, we take leadership principles and theories and turn them into everyday relatable and usable advice. Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Tim Stating the Obvious, where in this episode, we're going to talk about developing grit and how you do that. But before we get into what really grit is, we need to talk about mindsets. So you have two different mindsets out there. You have your fixed mindset and you have your growth mindset. So with the fixed mindset, you have all the skills necessary that you're born with, and either you either have it or you don't have it. You're either really talented in one area and deficient in others, and there's nothing you can do about it. You're born with everything that you need. And if you have a fixed mindset, you believe that your talent will only get you so far. And if you're deficient in an area, let's say, you're not good at math. Okay, well, I'm not good at math because I'm just not good at math. I'm not good at math, and I'm not meant to be good in math, because if I was supposed, I would be born with those abilities to be good with it. But the reality is, with a growth mindset, you can understand that you can work on these deficiencies and that you do have skill sets, and you're not limited by a lack of knowledge. However, they'll help you gain in your pursuit of new skills, because you recognize you're deficient in them, and you recognize that you can study, you can get better, and you can learn new things, and that the only reason why you're not good at it initially is because you're deficient in some skills. And once you understand that, then you can shift your mindset from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. Now, if you adopt a growth mindset, you'll experience challenges, you'll face setbacks, you'll get criticisms, and you'll have to learn from your past experiences, because you will fail, because these are things that you are not naturally gifted in. You don't have the natural ability of these talents. However, just because you don't have it doesn't mean you can't learn from it, right? And so you're going to be like, you know what? I'm going to face these challenges and I'm going to push through them. I know that I'm only going to get so far, those setbacks, and then I'm going to get better because of the failure. Thomas Edison said that he found ways that something didn't work, but he only needed one of them to work, and then he invented the light bulb. Of course, that was after Tesla, but we won't get into that. You're going to get criticism. People are going to give you constructive criticism, and sometimes they're not going to give you good solicited criticism either. But you have to be able to take that in a growth mindset and say, okay, what they're telling me is criticism. I should listen to what they're saying, so therefore I can get better. I can adopt what other people are saying as positive feedback, and that positive feedback will help me grow as a person. And then you're going to have to do a post-mortem on your experiences as you're working towards your goals. And another word for a post-mortem is an after-action review. You're going to have to look at everything that you're doing when you're going after your goals and your objectives, and you're going to have to say, okay, what did I learn from this, or what did I need to learn from this? What was the things that I needed to get out of this that I need to repeat again so I can get better, right? And that all of that goes into a growth mindset. If you had a fixed mindset, you'd be like, yep, I failed. It's because I'm not good at it. I'm never going to be good at it. I remember the first time I played baseball, and I think it was about 8 or 9 years old, and I was horrible at baseball. I mean, yeah, I could catch a baseball. Yeah, I could throw a baseball, but I was not good at it. But yet I wanted to play, because my older brother played soccer and I wanted to do something different. So I liked baseball. Plus I hated running up and down the field. It was a lot of running. And so I was just like, you know what? Baseball's for me. So I started playing it, and, I was horrible at hitting. I was horrible at fielding, and I was like, you know what? Let me see if I can be a pitcher. And I wasn't very good at that either. And I remember when I was about 11, I joined a baseball team. I did not play a single game that year. So I was on the team. I showed up to every single practice, but I did not get to play because I wasn't that good. And the coach wanted to win. And now, if you look at things in today's context, people would say, whoa, that is not okay. You got to let all the kids play. You can't just not let a kid play because you want to win. Well, this is also during a time where you actually had to try out for a team and you could not get picked because you weren't good. And that's just something you have to deal with. And I remember, hearing other kids' parents say, hey, just practice. Next year, you'll get selected for a team. Just keep practicing. And next year, you'll get selected for a team. Because I felt horrible that the team won, but I didn't contribute any. I mean, I showed up to practice the team. And I remember my parents telling me, they're like, well, if you want to play, you're going to have to practice and get better. So I was like, okay, I took it upon myself. I put a baseball glove up against a tree. And every single day I would go out there and I would throw the baseball into the glove every single day, multiple times a day, until I knew that every time I threw the ball, I would hit the glove. And so when it came to next season and it came to starting to play, I tried out again for the team and I was selected, and I was actually a starting pitcher and continued to start throughout the course of the time. But that was because I put in the effort and I didn't have a fixed mindset of I'm not a natural born athlete. I am not, someone who can play sports. I took it to develop grit. Now, there's a difference between grit and resiliency. Grit is your ability to stay interested in something and sustain effort towards a long-term goal. This goes back into goal, but things can go good and things can go bad. Resilience is your ability to take a hit, get knocked down, get back up, and keep going. Where grit is your ability to continue to sustain your resilience on something, even though you're not getting the initial satisfaction out of it. So, you got to also understand that talent won't get you where you want to go. Talent will only get you so far, but talent combined with passion and hard work and determination and constant, consistent effort to pursue your goals, that will develop grit and also eventually into success. Tom Hanks said in the movie A League of Their Own, he said, it's supposed to be hard. If it were easy, everybody would do it. And I think that's, true about everything. When you get your goals in mind and you've got your passion inside of what you're going to go after, what it is you want to pursue, what is it you want to pursue? What is it that you want to do? And, I think about this quote every single time that I feel like I hit a setback, and I feel like, hey, I want to give up on something. And then I constantly remind myself about this quote. It's supposed to be hard, because if it was hard, everybody else would be doing it. And, I really love this song and V&V Nation, but they have a song called Gratitude. And when I first heard this song, I was like, man, this is not a very happy song at all about gratitude. But then I really started looking at the words, and I really wanted to take a look at it even more. And so when I read it, I wanted to share with you some of the words, because in it says, determination grows as each truth is revealed, torn and repaired just to endure it all again. And the chorus of the song is so awesome if you think about it. So that's just like one line of the actual song, but the chorus, it says, thank you for all the doubts and for all the questioning, for all the loneliness and for all the suffering, for all the emptiness and the scars left inside. It inspired in me an impetus to fight, for the conviction, for the purpose found along, for the strength and courage that in me I've never known. And if it seems to you that my words are undeserved, I'm actually writing this in gratitude for whatever good it serves. And when I think about that, I think about the Tom Hanks quote, I think about about, this chorus in the song, how it really talks about, you're going to go through some stuff, and your grit and your ability to not give up. And when people are against you and people are trying to tell you that you're not going to make it, they put obstacles in your way, they question you, and you're going to spend some long nights, some lonely nights pursuing your goals and your dreams, but it's going to inspire you to fight back and not give up, because you're fighting for your passion, you're fighting for your goals. And it gives, he says it gives him the strength and the courage that he's never known. And I find that true in almost everything. If you've got a growth mindset and you're not willing to give up, and you're just gonna put all out there and fight hard and give it after you got, this song really speaks to that. And so, I really don't, endorse anybody or anything else like that. And people don't endorse me at all, because I'm just a nobody, just getting on the radio talking or on this mic on a computer. But I do know that right there is probably one of the best definitions of grit that I could come up with, because that's what you're going to encounter. And that's what I think pretty much majority of the people encounter. And those that give up, and those that give in, and those that do not really strive to fight for, what they're going after, even though they may not be as talented as the next guy. Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, says all the time, he was like, I may not be the most talented person in the room, but I'm the hardest worker in the room. And that has gotten him to where he is. And so that inspires me to never, ever give up either, because it's like, okay, all these people may seem like they're super talented, but really they're just really stubborn people who just don't give up. And I think that's what grit really is about. And I really think it's important that, we develop grit and keep grit alive. And so I would ask if anybody out there has a good definition of grit, or a story about grit that they want to share. Let me know what you think about grit. Do you think it's something that somebody made up, or do you think it is something that is worth spending the time and energy to develop? Because I certainly do. I think it's a very important thing to do. And I think it's important because I think it, as a society, oftentimes we decide that stuff is too hard and we don't want to do it anymore. And I don't know how many times I hear a day, oh, that's just too much work, or, oh, that's too hard, or, oh, that's just a lot of effort. And it takes me by surprise, because I'm like, wow, do you really think it's that much effort? All you got to do, is, I equate it to, somebody like me running a marathon. I'm not a good runner, but I know if I put one foot in front of the other and not give up, I'm eventually going to complete it. It won't be in a good time. It won't look pretty. It won't look good. I probably won't inspire anybody to do it, but it'll get done. It'll happen. So those are just kind of the thoughts that I'd like, wanted to share tonight. You just kind of think about what do we need to develop for this week? And if I was to improve one thing on myself going forward this week, it would be to increase my grit. How often do I want to wake up early in the morning to get in a workout, and then get the kids and everything else in life, get everything else going, then go to work, then deal with all your responsibilities throughout the day, and then do everything again the next day, and then still find time to pursue my goals and passions along the way. Eventually, this show is something that I personally would like to have go somewhere. That's just a goal that I have. I would like to continue to refine my skills on talking on the radio. And there's one time in college I did an internship at a radio station, and that was probably the biggest turn off that I had to wanting to be a DJ on the radio. I remember as a little kid, I loved, Wolfman Jack, how rock radio hosts options. And I remember actually taking trips to baseball games, and the DJs were there at the baseball games. The DJs were there at the at the rock concerts. The DJs were even at, Hollywood Studios or Universal Studios. I went down there for Halloween one year for a baseball tournament, and the DJs we're all out there and having a good time. And I was like, when I get older, that's a job I want. I want to have fun, play music, and get to rock out all the time. And then I did an internship at a radio station, and it was so boring. Like, I was in a room by myself, talking to myself in a soundproof room, constantly pressed for time to get a song right on cue, talk about the weather, introduce the next thing, play somebody else's sound bit. And it was very like not entertaining to me. And it really turned me off from wanting to be a DJ on the radio. And then recently I was thinking about, what were the things that I really like to do? And this kind of goes back into developing the grit, right? Because I gave up on something that I really wanted to do based off of a bad experience. And so now, we're given the tools and the opportunities where, I can kind of be a DJ in my own place. All I have to have is a microphone and a computer, or even a smartphone and a headset, and with a mic built into it, and you can talk and have a show. And I was like, this is pretty awesome. So then that's why I started getting back into the podcasts. And then I saw that, Podbean opened up the live streams, and I was like, well, this is pretty awesome. I don't know what I'm going to talk about, but I'm going to get out there. I'm going to try it, come up with a topic, and then hopefully people will stop in and listen and they like what they hear, because if I can help or at least get a message out to one person and they get some type of value, then to me, then that's good. Like, I'm happy. Like, I really don't care if I get to talk to 5,000 different people, or if 2 people show up, or if 1 person shows up. I'm just happy if somebody gets some type of value out of something that I think is seen and deal with at work often, and that I think that people should probably take a look at. I think the world is so busy that we don't often take a step back to think about our thinking, to think about, how we are living the way we're living and doing the things that we're doing and affecting a change in it. So that's what this show is about, is sharing different principles that we can probably implement into our lives and make a change for the better, one way or another. So, that's just kind of my thoughts